This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
And we are coming on the air right now with an update on what is described as a fluid, ongoing, and potentially dangerous situation today in the Canadian capital of Ottawa. It all began to unfold at approximately 9:52 a.m. This morning in Ottawa when there was a shooting near the Canadian Parliament, the National War Memorial. One Canadian Forces soldier was killed by the gunman. The gunman then apparently made his way to the Parliament, which is close by, made his way into the Parliament. That suspect has been shot dead as well. But right now, we just heard from Canadian Police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They cannot say whether there are other shooters at large right now. There's still many people in that city, that capital of Canada, on lockdown. It was a chaotic situation in the Canadian Parliament this morning. We have some footage right there showing police and security officials going through the hallways when gunfire is heard. I am joined on the phone now by the reporter who shot that video, Josh Wingrove from the Globe and Mail. And Josh, just incredible footage right there. Tell us where you were and what you were seeing.
Well, it was a heck of a morning, as you can imagine. The Parliament is there's a big hallway right down the middle of it, and there's two main hallways off either side. And I was in one of those, and this guy looks like he came in, if it is in fact a male, right sort of where all those intersect. It's this foyer area, a lot of security there, so we heard gunshots come up from there, and sort of ducking my head down the hall, you saw the smoke from gunfire. You could smell it almost instantly. And so going to the foyer, and sort of rounding the corners where that video picks up. And what we saw there was the security guards here in Parliament just sort of moving down the hallway. Certainly looked like they were chasing a guy, and that erupted into remarkable gunfire, a large number of gunshots, and which led to a body being on the ground that I saw. And that's when they sort of dragged us out of there. So I can't confirm whether that was the shooter. It certainly seems to be based on the reports since then, but it was a chaotic morning. It was Wednesday morning is when all the MPs in Canada gather here for their caucus meeting. So that's whether that was deliberately chosen or not, it happened at a time when a maximum number of MPs were actually in the building. And those rooms where they were meeting are just on either side of that hallway that it looks like certainly at least the police went down chasing the guy, if not the shooter himself. So it all happened very fast. And, of course, since then we are still in a lockdown here 5 hours later or so. And, it's still very fluid. There have been another shooting here. And as you heard from that press conference, it's not a lot of clarity on what exactly is going on and whether it's even safe yet.
What can you tell us, though, about... Thanks to Josh Wingrove for that. We also know that the Canadian Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, has been brought to a secure location. He has spoken with President Obama as well. But I'm joined here by our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross. Not a lot of other information. We don't know if there were other shooters. We don't know what they were motivated, what the shooter was motivated by, what may have been going on there. But we do know that Canada has been on edge for the last 2 days.
They went on high alert last week, and then on Monday, a person who was motivated, they say, by terrorist ideology, ran down 2 Canadian soldiers in uniform, killing one of them. He was one of about 90 Canadians who are under surveillance for possibly planning to go to join ISIS in Syria. They actually had revoked his passport. So whether this person in today's shooting was involved is not known, but that certainly will be a focus ongoing.
In the meantime, they've asked all military bases in Canada to be put on lockdown and for military personnel to be vigilant. Also calls Martha Raddatz, our chief global affairs correspondent, for vigilance here as well. Here's a statement just put out by the FBI. They say that although there is no specific reporting indicating a threat to the United States, as a matter of precaution due to recent events, the FBI has reminded our field offices and government partners to remain vigilant in light of recent calls for attacks against government personnel by terrorist groups and like-minded individuals.
And they're very specific. In October 11th, the FBI put out another bulletin saying that ISIS had put out an audio recording that specifically said and urged homegrown terrorists to target soldiers, patrons, and troops, their police, security, and intelligence members. That's why everyone is vigilant right now.
And we will remain vigilant again. President Obama has spoken with Stephen Harper, the Canadian Prime Minister. A shooting in Canada this morning, two shootings, one at the National War Memorial, one at the Canadian Parliament. The shooter has been killed by parliamentary officials. Also, the soldier is dead as well, as we said. And we're going to have much more on this tonight on World News with David Muir. Our entire team is on this. We'll bring you updates as conditions warrant. I'm George Stephanopoulos in New York.
This has been a special report from ABC News. This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
And we are coming on the air right now with an update on what is described as a fluid, ongoing, and potentially dangerous situation today in the Canadian capital of Ottawa. It all began to unfold at approximately 9:52 a.m. This morning in Ottawa when there was a shooting near the Canadian Parliament, the National War Memorial. One Canadian Forces soldier was killed by the gunman. The gunman then apparently made his way to the Parliament, which is close by, made his way into the Parliament. That suspect has been shot dead as well. But right now, we just heard from Canadian Police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They cannot say whether there are other shooters at large right now. There's still many people in that city, that capital of Canada, on lockdown. It was a chaotic situation in the Canadian Parliament this morning. We have some footage right there showing police and security officials going through the hallways when gunfire is heard.